And then finally, you wanted mushrooms, right?
Yes.
So screw tiny mushrooms. What we're gonna do is we're gonna make big mushrooms instantly. I'm gonna do red. And
But
I'm
can you
actually
also not use some other blocks, like making it purple-ish, with by using some other blocks?
you can. So I guess you want me to make a purple one then. So right now, what I'm basically doing is I'm making it so then this is like a leaning out towards the path. Basically, what I'm doing right now.
Mm.
So I'll keep it on that kind of lean, but I'll make sure that like because it is a mushroom, I'm gonna keep the base like actually muscled, and I'm not gonna slab it this time because I actually want it to be full blocks. So I'll make sure that it actually seems planted. So like say for example right now, right? Do you know this problem in this?
Not really what I remember.
If I did this, would this help? Does it look better now?
Yeah.
It looked like it was floating is the problem. Like it was actually one of the complaints that I mainly got as a builder when I did stuff before. They were like, "Why does this look like it's floating?" And I never realized why until one day I had it gotten pointed out to me as to why, and then I literally just had an epiphany. So because of how I actually built this side, I actually probably should have made it lean a bit further this way. I also don't even need to go this high. You know what? We'll cut off this chunk at the top.
There's also a block called rooted dirt. Where can you actually usually use that?
Same place that you can use coarse stug generally.
Ah.
Although I would generally like. So here's the thing. A lot of the times I would put like rooted dirt around trees like this as well.
Yeah.
Uh,
Making sense.
you can do the same thing with rooted dirt, and you can actually use both in conjunction with each other. So that way you can give yourself two different textures to work with instead of one. Here's the thing about mushrooms. Do you remember the Nether Island that I built?
Yep.
Do you remember the trees that are on it?
Yep.
I'm gonna use the exact same technique that I made to use to make those.
Ah.
Trees in the Nether are actually very mushroom-like. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm generally just going to make a mushroom-like shape. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually just gonna extend out by one block to just droop the tiniest bit further. And then from here, because it's a mushroom, I'm not just gonna make it droop the same. That would look very stupid. What I'm gonna do is I'm actually gonna push this up. And then we can droop. So something like that. Now we've created an odd shape, but that's entirely fine because mushrooms are odd.
Yes.
Very weird pieces of nature. We still actually haven't done two sides. So basically what we're going to do here is we're now going to fill in another side, like so, and another one on this side, like this, and then there we go. Now I have shape. That's all this comes down to. You basically just now go. You now just fill it in. It basically all you gotta think of is that I am a 6-year-old child, and I am about to create the greatest masterpiece in this coloring book I have ever made. Like what? Basically, how I like to build is I like to put stories into my builds. That's how I like to build. Because if you put a story behind a build, it makes it so much more impactful. Not like even if you don't share the story with anyone, people can most of the time figure it out.
But usually, I'm actually glad you're teaching me, mainly because this can help me be making better builds in Luke's parkour housing.
Sure, sure, good.
I can probably make it look more natural, more interesting.
Yeah. So here we go. And now just from this backside, I can instantly tell what that is. Although, here's the thing. A lot of the times, like, I'm very much doing this close because I already know how to do it close up. But a lot of the times, especially when you're new, to stuff like this, I highly recommend stop building. I know that sounds
Stop.
so weird, but stop building.
It makes
Take
sense
a
because
second, look back, and then continue. So like,
do make sense
it's like
when
I'll
you
do that a
actually
little bit. I'll fly away. Okay, that looks a bit odd right here. Fix that up. Okay, that looks better. Now I'll continue. So probably one of my favorite optical illusions in Minecraft that I actually use frequently is the gas optical illusion.
Oh yes, I know that one. When you place enough glass, I think it's 7
Yeah.
layers. Then it becomes kind of a fog slash
Yeah, but
gas.
basically you have to place them like basically like not next to each other. So like I'll do this and then go up and make sure there's like a gap between, right?
Oh yes, when it slowly becomes this fog, isn't it up to 7 layers you have to do?
I'm pretty sure, yeah. But yeah, there you go. Like, cause I'll do it from pretty far away. Then you actually get this kind of effect. Like, I'm constantly changing up the shape because like right now it just looks way too like blocky, and I need it to slope more. But at the same time, I want it to slope, but not like too drastically. Because otherwise it looks too odd. Like right now, you see how this is like a staircase.
Mm.
Don't want that. So I need to change up the shape a bit. But so now I'll literally just mix in blocks. Basically, is all I'll do.
They give it an interesting pattern.
Oh no, I don't care about the pattern. That's genuinely not what I'm doing right now. All I'm doing is I'm adding color. Because here's the thing, the pattern's all good and all, but if you're far away, it doesn't really matter to your eye. So let's say, for example, in real life, right? If you were to encounter a mushroom, how many times have you been like, I really wonder what this mushroom's pattern is? You don't.
Maybe I've done
You.
that a bit too much.
No, but like generally, like you won't care. What you'll care about is like, oh, that's some pretty colors. Like,
And oh, should I eat it? Is it poisonous?
I have never seen a wild mushroom and just wondered, should I eat this? Like, if I was to look up at that mushroom, I wouldn't really want to look up and see a flower. It doesn't really make sense. If I was gonna see anything, I would probably want to see a sea lantern.
Mm.
Oh, actually, no. I wouldn't want to see a sea lantern. I would want to see a frog light. I've never heard of that. That's the one I've heard of. Um, so just lighting up the inside of the mushroom, like so,
It was
and
more
then
just an idea of kind of, oh yes, that was some kind of spore. You could actually do hide it, the flower, to just make it feel like it's actually making some spore effect.
I mean you could, but like it's not always worth it to do something like that. But like now, if I
Mm.
go through this path, you see how like it's so much more effective just by
Yep.
doing a simple light. But like I can also, if I chose to, I could completely keep this dark. And now when I go under it, it gives a more ominous present. Because it's so exposed from this side, it still has light on it. Like a lot of light on it. But it still has that ominous feel because it is still like cloaked in a lot
Yep.
of shadow. This block here is actually entirely fine. Simply like, okay, if I was to get rid of that block, this now looks awkward. But because I have that right next to it, it now looks like it's now leaning against the ground, and that's what's stabilizing it.
Mm.
Like even if it's just a tiny little detail like that, it's completely fine. Something to work with. So let's just go with like I don't know, like a bear den. Let's go with that.
Sure.
I don't know. I'm just giving myself an idea, so I actually have something to work off of. So I don't have to like go for a full on like a thing that I've done before in the past, which took me like I don't know a month or two. So let's give myself an actual base layer that I can work with. So if I'm going for a bear den, I don't want it to be ridiculously big, but big enough. And then sometimes I'll double up, and then I'll cut. Do something like this, and then that to this. Right? So now I have a layout. It's gonna swerve mainly to the left. Why did I do this? It's simply because of how I actually made the entrance. So because of this, the entrance is actually chipped out further on the left, which means that it's actually eroded more on the left, which means that there should be more space on it. While the right side is more so just like following the erosion. So it's still dipped out a bit, but not too much. So that's basically my thought process behind that. Now that I'm actually reaching the next part, so I can either, I'm at the middle part now, so I can either continue going out for another layer, or I can do what I'm going to do now. I'm just going to basically follow mostly the same trail, except I'm going to cut some parts off to go down instead. Keep going through. Keep going through, keep going through, keep going through. You just keep cutting until you reach the end. Right? So now, instead of just going up like a slope, we have now actually started it to revolve back around. So simply by doing that, it now actually has depth towards the entrance itself. The other thing we can do here is basically once we've done all of this, the obvious answer is we can change up some of these blocks with stuff like andesite or gravel.
Yes.
But the other thing that most people don't think about is you can change some of the blocks with slabs and stairs.
Yes, that also makes sense. They give it kind of a more of a curve.
Exactly. And also, you notice on like this higher level, I'm now starting to like allow it to actually slope in. Basically, what this allows is it very simply allows it. Then it gives us more breathing room. Because what we're allowing it to do is we're allowing it to basically just go in towards the center, so that way when we start doing roofing, it actually has a place to go. Because I have decided this side is more eroded than the other, is that this side is actually going to be a lot shorter than that side. The reason for that is because erosion happens quite literally just gradually over time. It will dig away at the sides and the top at the same time, but it won't like go top to bottom, or a lot of the times just hit the center. So how this cave is formed is quite simply it's formed by this side was just hit a lot more than this side was. Now from the top here, I basically just now need to decide how much more does this need to go up. Then you go 1, 2, 3. I don't think 3 is the answer. This is way too small. We can try 2 for now. If we don't think it looks good, we can always change it to 1. Of course, this is just a lighting glitch because it's actually not a cave, but of course you won't have this with an actual cave. But now you can actually see like the kind of shape that I've just created. That's all it really takes for that. Where is my lava going to be? So I just do that with something orange. Just where is my lava going to be? Yes, I could use actual lava to do this, but then that's just going to bother me with sound while I'm building. So I'm just not going to bother with that. And why am I leaving a part in the center, you wonder? Well, that's simple. The reason why, I will show you in a second. I will just finish marking out this lava. And then, I don't know, like, you can do something over here, and then, I don't know, you got, like, treasure here, whatever. Like,
But shouldn't you use a more different type blocks than just stone? Because,
oh,
like
yes.
I
Yes, you
said,
should. I'm
you
just
are
not bothered
deeper
to right now.
in the ground. You are much deeper. You're really getting close to the core of the earth.
So basically what we do here, instead, of just being like, oh, we're not going to use stone, we're purely going to use deep flip. No. No, of course not. What we're going to do is we're going to use a thing called a gradient. Basically, what that means is that we're going to take the blocks that we think we're going to need, right? So we're going to take our stone. We're going to take our cobblestone. We're going to take deep slate. I don't care about stone deep slate. Our andesite, which is lighter. Cobblestone stone is darker. So like, see how I'm also organizing these? So then it's like, okay, this is lighter, this is darker. I'm basically just gonna sort through those. I can take basalt, which is darker than cobblestone, but lighter than deep slate. And I don't know, let's say basalt, right? Now if I place these next to each other, cobbled, cobbled smooth basalt, polished basalt, cobblestone, stone, andesite. We'll do a gradual increase of that. Like, of course, this is a tiny cave, right? It's tiny. Of its texture. Right, even if I was to place this next to lava, cool. But then what would be the block next to it? Like this? Or this? Like, it's way too drastic of a change that it just doesn't make sense. Like, this is pretty much all it is. Like, you just, every single time you ask a question about this, it's just, you go back to the basics.